We continue to sail our business through this storm. Our journey has been amazing, and we have looked at how we can lead our business through the storm, how we can build our brand even in this season, how we can continue to sell and engage our customers in this season. Today, we look at managing our people, our systems, our structures, our processes, so that we continue to thrive even in this COVID season. This is Coach Kiriba, and I'm excited to host a very special guest, Faith Muturi. Karibu sana, Faith.
Asante.
How are you doing?
Good. It's great to join you all. Congratulations. I think it's fantastic that you're having conversations just how to navigate this VUCA space. So yes. I'm glad to be part of it.
Asante. You are a corporate training strategist, a communicator for transformation. And when I was engaging with your business, I got to understand you catalyze people, teams, individuals, and even corporates to thrive, whether in this storm or in whichever season. Please share a little about what you do.
Oh, great. So you've done your homework, William. Well done. Well done. So absolutely want people to thrive. And the word thrive can be intimidating, but the thrive is different things in every season. I was talking to a friend of mine, and she just got a baby. And for her, thriving is matutas. You know what I mean? Thriving for her it's a different thing in every season, because she's not in her highest energy. But she's saying, for me, thriving is just being able to do a step at a time, connect with my baby and all. So the thing about thriving is, even in tough seasons, how can you be the best version of yourself at that point in an authentic and sincere way? And that's what we love doing. We've been doing it for about 14 years now. 7 countries, different parts of the world. But the interesting thing is, it doesn't matter where you are now. It's not like, Kenya, the way we'd have election seasons, then it's a Kenyan thing. No, this is global. We are all in this storm. Everyone is disrupted. It's just in different levels. And it's how to ride the wave, because the waves are coming. So how do you ride the wave? So that's what we are just passionate about, helping leaders in different industries to see how do you get to be the best version of yourself, to evolve and improve and grow.
Wow. Thriving seems strange in this season, the COVID pandemic. Actually, people say, let's talk about surviving. Don't chocha me, I'll thrive. How do you get me the context of thriving even in this season?
Let's talk about a butterfly and the stages it goes through.
Yes.
You see, when a maggot is being a maggot, that's the best state it should be at that point. But I think the challenge is, we are not comfortable with the maggot phase. We feel being a maggot, you're not really okay. You'll get to where you should be when you're a butterfly. But what we are saying, can I be comfortable as a maggot? Does that make sense? Can I say, because even the maggot can thrive in the maggot space, in a certain environment, in a certain setting. Does that make sense?
Yes,
and that's why even animals have learned this. Animals have learned in winter, this is how we survive, and this is the best we make of it. So I think the word thrive can be intimidating, but it's how we look at it. I think we look at thriving as the butterfly stage, but thriving is in every season you're at. Can I be an egg and I'm comfortable as an egg, and I know this is what thriving means in this season. What that does is that we are able to navigate the different seasons, and it's okay. And that's what I was talking about, even if it's for human beings, that when a baby is not running, they're still thriving, because that's the space where they're at. That's where they're at. And how do you, and at times, if you're more comfortable with, how can you be the best version of yourself? Why? So that if in this season you chose to, it was a maggot stage for you, you won't look back and regret 2020. You won't say, oh my goodness, 2020 was a waste, let me go to 2021. Because especially as people of faith, we know that all things work together for good. Then what is the good in this season? But here's the thing. If I don't acknowledge that this is my maggot season, if I don't acknowledge this is my egg, larva, pupa, all that, then I'm not comfortable with it, and I only look for when I'm a butterfly. So basically, that's what it means. Are we comfortable to say, this is the best thing I can do in this season, and that's a good thing for me, and say that that's okay. But when we, and that's, I think, and that's why we say godliness and contentment is great gain. But then to say, then am I being the best version of myself in this season? And then you thrive. You say, this is where, so that even if you say, and that's why organizations struggle with restructuring, and it's pain. But when we don't acknowledge, we have to become smaller, and it's okay. So that I treat you well, knowing I might need you in future. So it doesn't have to be acrimonious. It's just where we are at now. And when we enlarge, and it's okay.
Wow. We are thriving in this season. I love your example of transformation. The caterpillar, the maggot to a butterfly. I can't wait to be the butterfly that will fly after this COVID. So in this season, you're also transforming.
Exactly. And that in that season, there's what you're learning. I think in a lot of animals and species, for example, if the maggot doesn't go through the stretching and the pain to become a butterfly, it won't be able to fly. So the thing is, even the stage you're in is really preparation. First is in itself what it is, what you need, but it's also preparing you for the next phase. But if we feel that this season is not significant, this season is, I don't know why 2020 is here. You know, the people who are saying, God removed 2020, it has a virus, something like that. You know, uninstall. But no, it's fine. One of the things I was learning, and I say this because we are in a faith setting, is that the children of Israel, the time when Joshua was fighting the different ites, Canaanites, Perizzites, blah, blah, blah.
Parasites.
One thing, parasites. What they learned in the desert are the survival skills and tactics they got in the desert. And definitely it was by the grace of God, were able to help them. So they had not been trained in the army, but the resilience they had is exactly what they needed. So definitely there's what went wrong in the desert, but it still was the season they needed to be able to overcome later.
Wonderful. Today we're talking about management. And when we have conversations with various leaders, you know, this is a season to, you know, differentiate between leadership and management. Sometimes management is looked at constraining and, you know, trying to save or to put systems and structures. In this season, you're a bit disrupted. In the corporate world, many have gone into restructuring, laying off their staff, cutting down on cost. When you speak to others, they say, we, as you said, you are transforming. As a manager, what do you speak to my manager, the entrepreneur who has a team, he has a process, he has a company, but in this season, the disruption has called, you know, them to some tough measures that might, you know, be adverse to the business. In your business and in the entrepreneurs that you're working with, what is the approach? Is it laying off? Is it cutting down on cost? What is the best approach, even as we transform in this season from a management point?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I like what you said about perceived. That, and I see a lot of write-ups that say leaders versus managers. Leader forces you what to do, manager doesn't really know. But here's the thing, leadership and management are both important. The leader is the one who sees the vision. The manager helps you get there. But both come together to get important things done. So we don't need to attack the management role, because it's as important as the leadership role. So for us, we've been looking at an acronym called C.A.R.E. And we felt that this C.A.R.E. acronym really helps us to look at this season what matters. For us, the C is courageous authenticity. The leaders who are able to be bold enough to say, we're in the storm, we've never faced this before, and we don't really know what this will look like entirely.
Authenticity. The
authenticity. You know, there are times leaders play PR. They're like, don't worry, your jobs are secure. No one is going to leave. We really don't know. To be authentic enough to say, we want everyone to stay on board, but we don't know how the storm will go. But we want to do our best to take care of you. We want to go digitally, and we don't know what that looks like. We'd love to get ideas from you. So the first thing is courageous authenticity. I think one of the people, the New Zealand Prime Minister, Ardern, she's very popular because she's able to be courageous. She's courageous enough to say, guys, we're going on lockdown. But she'll be authentic enough to say, I'm struggling because I want my child to go to the playground, but playgrounds are not available. So the first thing people need from you as a leader is courageous authenticity. You must make the tough calls that need to be done, but you must be authentic. So that's C. Then A is you must be agile. You must be willing to morph and change and adjust. And the first thing about agility is, what do our customers really, really need, both internal and external? And then you see, what do they really need, and to let go of all the extras that are not needed. So you must be agile. You just have to morph and grow. Then R is you need to regroup. You need to continually ask a question. You need to check in with your team and say, how are you really doing? As you regroup, you need to have conversations of, okay, there's this statistic that said 81% of Kenyans, a Kenyan statistic that was done this COVID season, it was like 81% of Kenyans are saying that I'm not being effective working virtually. You need to regroup and say, are we really being effective? And look at the basic things. How is your setup? Have you developed a new schedule for yourself? So on a personal level for the staff, regroup on what products make most sense to our customers at this time, what services make most sense to our customers. It's regroup with your suppliers and say, we need to renegotiate our terms. We need to see how can we add value to each other. So courageous authenticity, you need to be agile, you need to regroup. But finally, you must have empathy. You must have empathy. And we love talking about an empathy culture. Here's the thing. First, it's a human thing. I think one of my mentors told me, I think when I was getting married years ago, they're like, in your wedding season, don't judge people. Don't say, because this one was there for me, they're my friend for life, and this one wasn't there. Or if someone passes away, don't judge people, because you never know how life will go. But the thing is, people don't forget how they were treated when they were down. So we're simply saying, you're creating a culture in this season of, when we are uncertain, this is how we'll deal with you. When we don't have money, this is how we'll treat you. When we're letting you go, this is how we'll treat you. So you create a culture that can build or ruin trust. So ensure you're as empathetic as possible, as human as possible. Think of what are our people thinking about. I think one of the first things we do in our team is telling people, we don't know how this will go. Start negotiating your rent with your boss and having conversations of negotiating rent with your landlord. What would that look like? What are the financial responsibilities that you have? What are the creative ways? Because we really, immediately it came more like, we don't know how this will go. So how can you show empathy and care? Because what you're simply telling guys is, next time we're in a storm, this is how we'll handle you. And trust is won or lost in such seasons. So courageous authenticity, A, you must be agile, R, regroup, and then E, have an empathy culture. Because at times it's not what you do, it's how you do it. People know you might have to lay off, but can it be that when things get better, you can come back? And the organizations that have cultures where you can leave and come back, you want that, because that's your future customer, that's your future supplier.
Wow, I love that. In this season, of course, as you have mentioned, employing empathy and applying empathy even when you have these conversations, there are some courageous decisions that you also have to make, including reviewing your staff team. In our recruitments, probably you'll find in this, the shift in the business and the economy, there is a shift in the way business will be done. There is a shift in the way you'll be able to manage your teams. Today you're working virtually. People are working from home due to the government restriction, but also from a point of reducing the infections. Teams may need to be reviewed. How do you ensure that you have the right team? Because the painful decisions have to be made, some have to be released. How do you ensure that you have the right team on board? Because there is panic, lack of supervision and accountability. Some will say, I cannot work because I don't have my virtual engagement. So how do you ensure you have the right team on board, even in this season?
I think number one, you need to know then, how are we relevant to our customers in this season, internal and external? Why? Because how you came is, if you are selling milk, then you knew, who do I need to sell this milk? So you need to identify then, what is our new proposition? What are our new products? What are our new services now? And the first thing you do is you connect with your customers. Identify who are our 10%, and the 10% could be 10. They could be, how can you have conversation with them and find out what do you really need from us in this season? Once you know, and go through a customer journey map, and we'll talk about that. Once you know what your customers really need, then you'll know who are the people who will meet the needs of these clients. So what goes wrong is organizations have strategies, but your strategy is not in line with what your customers are going through right now. So first of all, what do your customers need? What are you best placed to do in the season? We already talked about agility. So you look at your strategy, but your strategy must be customer centric. Then you look at the skills audit. So you do a skills audit, but a lot of times people think these are the skills we'll need. But at times that's not your customers really need.
It's
A lot
about
of
the customer.
Exactly, it's not customer centric. So you have to look at what do our customers need, what are the products you're going to have in the season, what are the services we'll offer in the season, and then what are the skills we'll need to meet this. So you do a skills audit to know who the people who will stay. You do an attitude audit.
An attitude.
Because skills can be developed easily. Attitude can also be developed because you want to have the right skill sets, but also people with the right attitude on board. And then you do a risk audit. What are the risks we are likely to face, especially with, and this one consults, as we are going into artificial intelligence, know all those things, what are the risks we have? Look at what are the government regulations that we have. What have other government regulations been in other parts of the world, because they might influence us. So do a skills audit, do an attitude audit, do a risk audit. Then you'll know then who are the people we really need on board. And it's okay to have, and I know there are people who said we can go on voluntary leave, blah, blah, blah. So be careful not to, you must make some tough decisions, but you must keep relationships. Because as we go along, you might need to change direction. You might realize, oh, actually we really needed this and we had let go of this team or this department or this role. So customer centric, do your customer map, do a skills audit, do an attitude audit, do a risk audit. Then you'll have an idea, what do we need?
Wow.
Yeah.
Now you have that team and you have been able to build a team that will work with you. My business person also looks, there is a strategic shift in the way also you will manage that team going forward. From a point of goal setting to reviewing their performance and holding them accountable. So that is the conversation that they're looking at. How will you have the conversation with them in regard of this is a new way of engaging your teams and ensuring there is productivity, even better, while working virtually or with lesser supervision in this season? How do you do that?
Yeah, that's a big one. People are wondering, how do I have, what's virtual performance management in this season? I think this is a challenge to us. It's a challenge to, if people are showing up and then performing, you know, the way of when the boss is away, we don't work. First of all, this is when you really know your culture, that do people do things because they're micromanaged or not? So the first thing is you need to, the most effective performance management goals is when the employees are leading the process. First of all, even as you're looking at what are our products, what makes sense, it's your employees are the ones who give you feedback that matters a lot, as well as your customers, definitely your clients. Now, in this season, it's great to tell people, now, this is where we are heading. Your role, how do you see your role morphing as an individual? What value do you think you'll add in this season? And together set targets. So number one, it needs to be employee-led, but not employee conclusive 100%. Number two, informal is what works. This is the season that actually a lot of organizations globally are no longer doing, you know, that the annual appraisal, quarterly appraisal, because they're saying we can't touch base twice a year and we talk about your performance. So this is when informal performance management must happen. This is when leaders must have check-ins and say, what are the goals that we are setting? And then you keep reviewing. It's like, it's a journey basically. How do we change left, right? How do we move? Then the other thing is you have to upskill. How we, you know, the whole we went from analog to digital. People who are trained, people who are equipped. For someone to work virtually effectively, you need to equip them if you want them to because you brought me into an 8 to 5 system. You taught me this is how you enter, this is what you do, this is where you have your coffee, blah, blah, blah. So now I'm at home. you need to upskill me in terms of how do I get this new normal. Even in terms of wellness is not a responsibility for the employer, because they realize you're not a home human doing, you're a human being. If you're not, if your mental health isn't fine, it doesn't matter what targets I give you. If you're not healthy, you're not okay. So I think to upskill people, to help them know how do you work effectively virtually, to help them know what adjustments do you need to have in place, to let them know what are the skills you need now so as to be relevant and to remain on board. So I think one of the things is agree on goals together, set goals together, have check-ins, find out how people are doing. So as simple as how do you keep your managers in check? Find out, are they having, depending on the size of team, are you meeting monthly with your team? Are you having one-on-ones with your team members? After your one-on-ones, are you sending an email to each other? And the email is to remind us where are we going, because we need to be comfortable. No people say if it's an email I'm out to get you, no. It's communication. I should trust you face to face. I should trust you on phone. I should trust you on email virtually as well. So if leaders do that, then by the time we're getting to the 3-6 month mark, it makes sense. Why? Because objectives will have to change. Targets will have to change. My role will morph. But the beauty is if we've been checking in, depending on the size of team, on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, by the time we want to do a proper 3 month or proper 6 months, we'll have made the adjustments we need to my JD. So right now, the issue is not how do I track your performance. The issue is how do I support you to perform in the best way possible. People need to tap into technology, use apps. There are different apps, there are different softwares that help people to work virtually. So check them out. There are many available that are even free. So that how does a team work together and you're able to fill in where you're at. So that it's not the number of hours you put in. It's not your email. Have you started emailing me at 8 umeamka? You know, it's what's the output, what are the goals, then you don't have to micromanage people. So use technology, use apps. There are a lot of apps for how can teams work virtually. Just Google softwares for teams working virtually. There are many available. There's Basecamp, there's, okay, just like Basecamp, but there are many. Check them out, okay?
Wow, then I see a great need for training, for coaching, to leaders, to managers, but also to the staff that they're working with. So I believe that's a great area and a great need in every other business, the need for training and coaching for people to shift the way they have been doing business, the way they have been managing their businesses, and even their processes. Now, I shift now to processes. Of course, as you have mentioned, there are various apps and various opportunities in how we can be able to ensure delivery of service. Every business, the heart of every business is to the customer. The service you're offering, the product you're delivering, it is at the heart of every other business. In this season of disruption, it has been disrupted. So there might be a bit of quality standards, delivery to the customer. The promise is that we'll deliver tomorrow, but I'll say, oh, sorry, I wasn't online, I didn't check your email. How do we ensure that we put in systems, structures, and standardized process so that the customer doesn't have an excuse that, sorry, my team was not around, sorry, we are disrupted in this way. How do we shift our systems, our structures, our processes so that the customer, the product, the service is?
It's excellent. William, I like how you started with, so people need to be upskilled. I think where people go wrong a lot of times is you get the right processes in place, but have your people be plugged into the process correctly. So again, it starts with people. Why you notice, I remember, I think the first time we had the superhighway on Thika Road, there were a few accidents, and basically it was, you've put a superhighway, but do the drivers have a superhighway mentality, or do they still have shukisha? You know, and the shukisha where you want shukisha. So a lot of processes, and a lot of processes are not necessarily bad. It's, are your people prepared for the new processes that are there? So the first thing when you're looking at your processes is do a customer journey map, and I mentioned this before. Look at, personify your customer. Say our customer is Aching, our customer is Peter, our customer is this 10-year-old, and say what are they experiencing now? What are they facing? What are they experiencing? How do they normally reach us? How will they now reach us? How are they looking for us? What are their stresses? How fast do they want response? When they pick up the call, if they call us at night, what happens? You get what I mean? So for example, I need to make an order. If I have to make an order in the morning, then what happens? So what you notice is and I want to challenge everyone, sounds like common sense, but the truth is very few organizations do a literal journey map. And it's perfectly fine to do a visual journey map to say, we come from A to B to C to D. Once you've gone through a very thorough customer journey map, then you'll know, and then you develop SLAs. Then you'll say, when a chain calls, she needs the phone ring picked in the third ring. When a chain calls, her order needs to be sent to Peter, who is in supplies, within 30 minutes. And a lot of home delivery apps have done that very well. But how they've done well, they've thought, when this person makes an order, how friendly is our app? How friendly is our website? What if I don't understand your many terms and conditions? Are there images for me to click on? So think of all those questions, then you'll have the right processes in place. And the thing is, once I make an order, normally I'm not sure if the order has gone through. So you have my phone, send me a text. So that's when you get the SLAs, immediately send a text. So find your own organization, get what does because every organization has a customer. Even if you're in the development world, your customers are the people you support. Your customers are your partners. Your customers are the government. What are the processes now in government now that things have changed? If you do a proper journey map, it'll give you the right processes, and the right processes serve your people. So please do a journey map. If you haven't done a journey map, that's the thing. And then ensure you have very easy feedback mechanisms. Ensure people can say, I was unhappy with this, and it should be as easy as a text. Then do focus groups for your clients. Decide, there are 5 clients who've used our products. Could we do a phone call? Could we put them in a virtual setting and tell them, we're going to give you this free giveaways. We just want to hear what your experience was like, because there are some things you won't get if I just text. So get easy mechanisms for people to give you feedback. And one as simple as a text, I should be able to do it a text away. I should be able to do, one of the things you want your entire organization to do is whenever they talk to the internal and external customer, to ask this question, how was this experience for you? Even internal customers. For example, it's someone in finance need to ask, how was this experience for you? Did you get the money you needed in good time? Was it transferred in good time? Even if it's to internal, also to external. 1, it should be easy. But 2, you need stories. Because when customers complain, they don't say, I just had a number 2 experience out of 10. No, they'll say their story. So hear the stories, because the stories tell you, stories bring loyalty, or stories bring about disloyalty. So feedback. And that's why you become agile better. You know that word agile is very intimidating. It's people, our customers are not liking this. It's our team members are stuck here. Remember we talked of SLAs, so that by the time we said this should happen, every customer should get, everyone should be replying emails in 2 hours, whether it's between these hours, whether maybe for internal customers, external customers, or every 24 hours, ensure you've resolved an issue. Then if it didn't happen, you ask, here we missed the 24 hours, what happened? Then you say, I didn't get this feedback from a certain supplier. So that's how you keep improving your processes. So what are we saying? Processes are people-centric. You can have the right SLAs, but if you're not getting feedback to know, is this thing working, it won't be effective.
Wonderful. Processes are people-centric.
They have to be.
And for us to make our customer journey to be great is a feedback mechanism.
May I give a story, a joke? So there's this lady, and even in the medical world, and allow me to use your pen here. So there's this lady who went to her doctor, and she said, doctor, this inhaler isn't working, it's for asthma. And she said, no, she said it's not working. I think she said, I've had many asthma attacks and the inhaler isn't helping me. The inhaler isn't helping. It's not working for me. So now, this was the 3rd doctor she had gone to. So the first doctor said, oh, it's not working, let me change for you the inhaler and give her a different inhaler. Another one said, then your case is really serious. We need to nebulize. Nebulize is where they put the mask and you. So you think they are changing the process? So the 3rd doctor told her, show me how you're using your inhaler. So she did the inhaler.
Oh.
So a lot of processes
Wow.
that are incorporated by an organization, because you've done your research.
Yeah.
The problem is not the process. 80% of processes is the user.
Wow. Wow.
So
Wow.
that's why we're saying
I love that
processes
story.
must be people-centric. And that's why you ask the right questions. Wow. You see why, by the end of the day, it's not performance management. It's not what's the performance management for virtual. It's, are we having conversation? But most managers don't have one-on-ones with their teams. So how should managers be rated in their performance? In how frequently they're having one-on-ones with their team members. They should check in on that. If you've not done proper one-on-ones 3 months down the line, at least on a monthly basis, really it should be weekly, but depending on the size of team, then you have no place to talk to me 6 months later and talk about my performance, because I could just be doing this and the questions the manager is asking and the leaders.
As we finalize, there are new opportunities in this season. Even in the storm, there are new opportunities that come into place. New products, new services, new way of doing things, new ideas are coming out. What's your approach from a team and management point to help them in exploring these new opportunities, even in this season?
Wow. Now, the interesting thing is, we've not seen this season before, but we've seen storms before. We've seen storms in our country, we've seen storms in the world. And normally, if you look at revolutions, the agrarian revolution, all those revolutions, for example, after the First World War, there was a revolution, Second World War. So what happens with storms and calamities, there's a newness. There's a newness that comes, but even in the midst, there are opportunities that are there. Again, talk to your customers. So number one is, who are you? What do you have? What are you good at? What do your customers need? Just listen. If they're saying, atutoki kwa nyumba haraka, just accept atoki kwa nyumba haraka. How do you get closer to them? So that's number one. Number two, why do you really, really, really exist? What do you have? Who are you? What can you offer around you? And you'll be able to get a solution. But we'll get through this. How can you be the best version of yourself in this season? But how can you serve? Because as you serve, you find purpose, you find meaning, and you'll get to the butterfly phase. So may grace abound in your maggot, lava people, whatever season you're in.
Bring in your questions, your comments, any clarification. We'll be having a Zoom interaction with Faith after this session. And let's engage. Let's have this conversation. Faith, your final word to that business person, to that sailor in this season when they are managing their teams and their businesses. What will you tell them?
Okay. There are people you may let go of, but they can feel cared for. And that's what matters. Why? Because they had a life before they joined you. And you trust that they will be okay in the end. You're not the source. So what must you do? You must continue having conversations as a team. There are times you may not have much to say, but that's okay. You must having conversations with your clients. And above all, you must have conversations with God. So that's my encouragement to you. And that's what we've seen. Like we're now experiencing virtual training, which is fantastic. And we are amazed at the feedback we're getting from clients. We are amazed at, because we love measuring ROI. And it's amazed us because, especially personality, me, I like people. I'm like, this Zoom thing and Microsoft, and I'm not feeling them.
You're not feeling it.
But the stories we've gotten from organizations, you're hearing people saying we've gotten more collections than we had in the previous seasons. We've increased, I think one organizations, they were able to increase one of their subscriptions by 30,000, things we didn't expect before. And there are things still tough as they are, but one moment at a time, one victory at a time, and we will get through this. So I encourage you, be strong and of good courage. The God of the desert is the God who will take you into the new season. But please accept, Moses is dead. Manna is not there anymore. But when there's no manna, it doesn't mean there's no provision. He'll teach you how to win the battles in the city.
Ladies and gentlemen, be strong and be of good courage. The God of Joshua is still our God. As we transition into the new season, as we go to the conquer the new land. May we be strong and be of good courage. May we still sail our business through the storm. The storm is just a momentary. We are coming out stronger and with a newness in ourselves as entrepreneurs, in our business, and even as individuals. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you, and may He watch over you and your business and the people that you work with. Thank you, and God bless you.